Hi guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you have yet to do so. And if you get anything from my work, a connect dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom of the description of this video. AlleyCatCreations211.com is where you could see all the work I do. And tomorrow is a raffle. The raffle I had to put under surgery. Skull needed a lobotomy, but he's healing good. I make hearts, lots of pyramids. You can see all the pyramids behind me. I make signs. I make so much stuff. So go check out my website. If you're interested in anything, please email me because that's the best way to get fun and creative artwork that I personally do. Um, 3D memberships is a really great way for you guys to support my channel, but in back saying thank you back. Um, Tomorrow's Friday Night Live, we're gonna have an entry, and you guys get a free entry if you're a member. So that skull is about $50. So you get a cool prize for just subscribing in being a member. And you also get channel member only content, and that's Oracle cards. This is going to be a quantum AI and metaphysical ponderings. There's a lot going on right now, and energy wise, everybody's shifting, everything's going crazy. It just needs to happen. Tomorrow's my last day of work as well. I'm not freaking out so bad, but I can't pay my bills. So I have to go to the bank and take a bullet, metaphorically speaking, and do something I'm not comfortable in doing, but I don't have a choice because I'm not one of those YouTubers that make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't do that. If I make $100 a month, I'm happy. But um I'm just being transparent with everybody. Um I have a job in August, but the next 2 months I don't know how the hell to live, and no one's getting back to me about summer work. So it's kind of nauseating at this moment. Um I still hold out hope that something, a miracle, an opportunity opens up. But it's not for the lack of me not doing, me not going out there and trying. I just don't know where things are going to stick, and I don't know why the universe is making me be patient when bills are due. Fun times. Yay. Need that. Need that. But I'm not trying to sit here and worry. And I had a really good day today. Today was field day, and I got one picture. There was a kid behind me that it was hiding so I could post it. You're not allowed to post kids stuff. Like they have its own YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook page and everything, but it's private. Unless you're belonging to the community, you don't get access. But either way, I really enjoy um everybody that's there. So I'm very much putting that up. I'm really exhausted. I had a really good day. It was long though, very long, very fun. But yeah, I'm over this year. And not to say that I'm not happy about it. There's so many things that are not are not in my control. If that makes sense. Like I can't force somebody to hire me. I can't force a school to give me a loan, well, financing to go back to school. without a cosigner. I can't do that. I can't force somebody to make them do something they're not comfortable with. Um, I can't force anybody to buy my artwork. I can't force anybody to watch me. I can't force anything. I'm just showing up authentically and transparent as always. So, uh, we'll see what happens. Like I said, things are rough right now, and I'm just not here to worry word about it. I'm trying to transmute it. I'm doing the work on getting that subconscious block to come forward. It don't doesn't seem like it's coming forward. I don't know. I'm praying and asking upstairs like, "Hi, we're all here for a change," and I understand that, but at the same time, give me a bone. And it's not because of the lack of being impatient, it's the lack of 3D necessities need to be met if you want this physical vehicle to live. So that's where I'm at. I'll talk more about it tomorrow. I'm not here to bitch and complain. I'm over that. But we did have a lot of energy coming in today, which was great. So we're sitting a little under 8.08 frequency. So the frequencies are still high planetary wide. Things are transpiring in the world. Now, if we go into the Curtis books and we look at like the earth changes, it's not because someone predicted it, it's because Gaia is purging and she's moving on up too. And a lot of the weather and a lot of things, there's a reason for it all. Whether you want to sit there and negate it and go, well, it's the evil people, it's weather manipulation. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying there are certain reasons for things happening and it's in God's hands, literally. There's a reason for it all, and people are just playing the roles that they were conspired to play in this lifetime. And I don't understand now why we can't detach from the good and evil paradigm. Because there's quantum at play. Lots of quantum at play. But this is something, there's a few things I want to show before I jump into articles. And it's not necessarily articles as much as just uplifting. When a certain level of consciousness is reached, you become a beacon. I call you guys a lighthouse, emanating a frequency like a radio station that others can tune into. And that is the square truth. The vibe you are putting out, the frequency you are putting out, other people will eventually gravitate to if it's the reality and paradigm and frequency that they're wanting. You already harbor and sit in that energy. You're shining your light. Your toroidal field is huge. And you're going to start getting people coming over to you, questioning their own paradigm, and you're going to make it make sense for them. And then they're going to be like, oh, I did this earlier in the week. Um, Apparently I could be a therapist. One of the ladies is leaving my work and she's like she's very upset, but she's like really over it, the way she's been treated. And that's, it's all perception and perspective. But I said to her, you are where you are meant to be for a reason, and God put you here for a lesson and a learning. Now that you learn the lesson and the teaching, you're going to move on. And she goes, my therapist kind of said it in different words, but very similar. And I said, you have to transmute the energy. You can't sit in that. She goes, that's what she told me too. I don't know who her therapist is, but hi. So what's interesting is a lot of the stuff It's truth. If a normal everyday person that's a therapist is telling you, like, you got to change your perspective, you got to change your mindset, it's up to you if you're willing to do the work. For me, in the last 3 years, I have changed a lot. I've undergone a huge metamorphosis, like a little caterpillar, hungry caterpillar, moving along the life that I'm living, and I transformed already, and now I'm transforming again. Apparently, I went back into a caterpillar. Um, but a lot of us are going through that again stage. Things are looping for a reason, and subconsciously for me, I don't know what I'm entangled to that I need it to collapse and release. Um, I don't know. But I really enjoyed that we are the lighthouses. We are the ones seeding a paradigm. We're seeding our authentic self. We are giving wise advice. We are the sages. We are the magi. We are the way showers. We're showing other people, like, if I could do it, you could do it. And you can't hold yourself up in limitation. For me, like I said, I'm putting myself out there. I'm not limiting myself. I'm not saying, well, this job is below me. I'm not. I'm just going about what would I find joy in and happiness. No, not all those jobs pay and pay enough. But again, I have to do something that will make me happy. I'm at that stage of my life that I can't work these insignificant jobs, and they're not insignificant. Every job that you had, every form of making income always serves you a purpose. There's always lessons to learn. There's always someone that's there that needs to hear you or connect with you. So don't ever think that in that context. But for me personally, I'm at my wit's end. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I want to share this because this is something I know if anybody watches Janine's Turn the Page channel on Rumble, often we see me and Arnie together, the A team. I love Arnie. He's amazing. But we differ in opinion on truth. And for me, the truth is this. In the quantum field, keyword is quantum field. Truth is not just a word, it's a frequency. I've been saying this forever. When that frequency enters a space out of alignment, it vibrates, it rattles, it awakens. So everybody perceives truth differently, and what I want things to come into an awakening point of reveal. That truth that I want revealed is not going to be the same truth that someone else wants to be revealed. And the manner in which the timelines we keep jumping into, time dilated like the other day, and basically we merged into a new timeline. Or we brought the timeline down to us. We like collapsed a wave function for things to run a little differently. Great. But at the crux of truth, if you're frequenting at a low vibratory state, your truth isn't going to be, it's going to be 3D only, and it's going to project into the outside world as a 3D thing, where most of us want truth to a larger totality and a larger viewpoint. So truth is how you perceive it. And I want the truth out. What kind of truth? What truth? What everything to me, in my understanding, has been 1984 to an extent. Documents, perceptions, narratives, programmings, it's all there. The surface level stuff, I'm sure a lot of people want truth on political stuff, But at what detriment now that most of us are in the awareness of the clones, of the doubles, the triples, the quadruples. We're aware that the world is a stage and that it's a movie, but there is a large component of humanity that it doesn't understand. It's been deceived like in every aspect. It's been deceived that we've been running a political shit show and we're being deceived on both sides. Like this side wants us dead. This side wants us, if we look at the duality of it, this side wants to control and rule the world. That's a negative polarity. And then you get the light side deceiving us by like, oh, it's a cog and we can't tell the American people what we're doing, but trust us. No, I don't trust shit. I don't trust anybody. Why? Because I don't feel right about it. If you said that there was an auto pen for 4 years and who was really running the country, and if it was the military, what aspect of the military? And then the fact of the matter is, long time ago, there was a lot of treason starting to come into the forefront, and not one person in the military stopped it. Oh, we're not powerful enough. Well, no, that's a problem because you have an oath to serve. That's what you get paid for from my tax dollars that I work really hard for. So please explain to me, someone explain the farces. Why is there an actual plan to know truth? What kind of truth? What's the expanded version of the truth? What level of truth? 3D, 4D, 5D. If it's God's world and God's plan and God's will, what do we trust? What do we trust? It's difficult. And it's something that a lot of us, if we do deeper going inside, the truth is already known in ourselves. Like at some point, many of you had stopped and go, wait a second, like I'm also being deceived from that side because you took the expanded view. You stop favoritizing your one end, no matter what end you're on politically. You expanded your viewpoint. You saw beyond the good and evil, and you saw things for what they actually are and how they're actually playing out without the narratives being strung at you. You saw the deception on both sides. Why are we waiting? Oh, be patient, be patient. We've been patient for years now. Those of us that were just, naively in the hopium view, like, oh, things will happen. Great. Things are going to happen. Yeah, great. And then they never transpire. And it doesn't transpire the way you want it to. See, I let go of that paradigm a few years ago because if I sat on my laurels and didn't move, I would be homeless because everybody around me was like, oh, it's going to drop. Everything looks like it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it never happened. And it never happened. And it never happened. And it still hasn't happened for those of you who are in the know. So how can we sit here and say we want truth? We want things to be revealed in an honest form. I don't think that's necessarily truth. I just think those are 3D facts, 3D facts that we want to come out. Why now all of a sudden do you see certain patents, a Q-tip, mind you, but where was that years ago when everybody was supposedly, giving 2015 Rothschild document out there that tests were already made? Now all of a sudden the Q-tip was found. I called BS on that shit. Oh, it's suppressed. I was suppressed by who? Yeah, social media can block you, but why now? Why am I just seeing that now? These are things I ponder. So what really is the truth? At this point, I don't even care anymore. I'm done. I love my country. I want it to be peaceful, harmonious, and free. I want people to get out of the good and evil paradigm and focus on themselves. Do the inner work. Go into your why, try, heal those traumas, heal your inner child, heal, period. End of story. Heal whatever facet you think you need healing. That healing process never ends. I'm always healing. I'm no guru. I don't claim to be one. But goodness sakes, people, at what point, what do you hold rent in your head about? Like what are you paying your master? Are you paying in coin? Are you paying in time? Time is linear here, so it does exist. But how many hours a day, if you were to chart out what your focus is every day, and if you're not taking time to think and focus on yourself, and that's not a selfish thing, that's taking care of your needs, that's taking care of yourself. We've come and been conditioned to think if we think like we want to be a service to others, but in order to be a service to others, we need to service ourselves first. It's like the mask on the airplane analogy. You're no good if you're hunched over and incapacitated. Like that doesn't work. You can't be capacitated. You can't be like, huh, you need your mask first and then you aid everybody else. If your cup isn't full, you can't pour out of an empty cup. And if you do pour, it's going to be air, cool. But we want substance. And no offense to the air, but hmm. I was going to edit that out, but my editing tools are not working. All right. So the next thing on Facebook, um, and I'm going to see if I can find more articles on this as we go on. Research indicates the Casimir effect, a quantum force, can be reversed, generating repulsion instead of attraction, potentially enabling levitation technology. What? What? I mean, people who know how to do psionics, not the I'm going to move foil with my hands because foil is thin. Okay. I'm talking about real deal levitation. You, if you have the inaptitude in your mind to have the will to focus that strong in your field of energy to actually levitate yourself, there are people that can do it, and I've seen one or two like legitimate, not AI advanced or Photoshopped advanced photo imagery of people doing it, and I'm like at awe of that ability. Um, but science is getting closer to actually explaining what and how that process is going to work. And maybe the technology post Atlantis about the Giza pyramids and stuff. I mean, again, I think that's more Atlantean technology. That was just improved upon maybe perhaps when the social memory complexes came down after Chem and the other civilizations were being formed again and seeded again. Check out a waspy. But Levitation will be great, but we got to be, it's just like AI and all the other things that are starting to come out. Are you using it for your betterment, or your intention is pure and good and righteous, or are you getting lazy? And I work with special needs children, and I think AI is a fantastic tool, mind you, tool to aid somebody who has deficits in sight, hearing, or mental capacities, physical capacities. Stephen Hawking, for instance, used sorts of AI, even if it was archaic, it still helped and aided him. And I want those advancements to come out, and I want that technology to flourish because people need that. It's hard to function already in this world, and you're making it harder and harder. And but it's worse for people who have, and I don't think they're necessarily disabilities for some of it. Sorry, my feet have to clean up. I'm wearing a comfy clothes. Had to get out of my, I don't know if I have ticks on my clothes. Oh, sorry. I'm not trying to yawn. Like I said, I had a long day. And tomorrow's probably going to be long too. Um, this next article here in Gravity, just the universe hang on, reading it wrong. Is gravity just the universe zipping its files? Question mark. Physicists think so. What if gravity just isn't just pulling stuff together, which I don't believe it is what we consider gravity, but streamlining cosmic code. Physicist Melvin Vopson has developed a theory that sounds just out of the Matrix. The universe might be a giant computer, and gravity just an effect of its optimizing data. He suggests that as particles behave like bits and space-time acts like a cosmic hard drive, gravity works like a zip file, compressing and simplifying information across the universe. Ooh. The wild idea builds on infodynamics, where information is treated like physical stuff with mass, space, and energy. So when you look at a planet's gravitational pull, you might actually be witnessing the universe trying to reduce data clutter. Mind blown? Same. If this holds, it could rewrite how we see everything from quantum mechanics to dark matter. Him, that person, and Mr. Federico Fagin need to talk. Different theories. He's quantum panpsychism, but that there is plausibility to it. If there is states of qualia, which is the ether, which is photons, energy, consciousness, photons equals light equals energy equals consciousness, all that sitting up here in a vastness of space-time, and maybe that's the reason why, just think of it this way, and I'm channeling heavily, why we can't just pull anything out of our heads and channel information. That's why, like, Tesla only got stuff pertaining to what his contract stated, that he's going to be the inventor of XYZ, and he's going to be stupid intelligent and all the stuff. Why can't I pull in anything out of the ether in the qualia, the collective consciousness? Maybe the universe is really decluttering the source of information that's out there, and only what is allowed for you at your frequency is going to seep in. Very interesting. But if we all are literally are encoded, which we are through our DNA, and our DNA is a code that we get green eyes, I got freckles and gray hair and bad teeth, like this is stuff genetically encoded within me. What happens if the code exists in all things? And it sort of does, in my estimation. But I thought that was pretty phenomenal to thinking about, we view, if you look out, no matter again how you see the universe, if you're looking outside and you're looking through your telescope at Venus and it's just a ball of like a luminous light instead of like a planet that NASA told you exists, what level of frequency are you seeing it at? Are you seeing its 3D view, 4D, or 5D? If we were to go look at the galactic people who speak, and they said they have to wear a density belt to densify differently to get into where certain planets have actual people inhabiting it. Well, we can't see that in the 3D form. We're not in 5D or 6D or 4D in order to see the full actual spectrum of what they're doing and if there's people in there. That's why it's hard to see all the cloaking happening up there because we're not meant to see them yet. They did not densify down to 3D for all of us to have that light show just yet. And they're already here. For whoever is like really into the disclosure, not that's a whole program in itself and a narrative that I would get yourself out of. Why? They're here and many of us are them. Well, I'm a human, Allison. Sure am. I'm a human too. I'm an angelic. You don't see my wings. If they don't even have wings, it's light. But the Arcturians, the Palladians, and all these things we give labels and names to, they're just frequencies of information and energy and beings who are on higher density, less dense, probably not even material at this point. They're just in streaming consciousness to us. They're here already. You can't see them because you're not in the perceptive frequency to see what they're vibrating. They're vibrating way faster than you. And that your eyes, physical eyes, will never be able to pick up unless they densify themselves for you to see them. So there's a huge disclosure movement out there and a big focus for many of them, not all. I'm cool with a lot of them. I don't have a problem with them. It's just disclosure for what? They've been here. If you want disclosure about the government and the black projects and all the fugazi nonsense that goes on behind the scenes in the governments, not just America, but all of them, yeah, I want that truth too. You're never going to get it. But you know it inside. You know that they're running the projects. What else do you need to know? Everybody is so quick to jump on a bandwagon. Oh, the Galactic Federation. How do you know? I was in that position a few years ago when I was into that whole galactic stuff. Still am, but in a different capacity. I matured my thinking. One channel was talking about the Tigetans, the others were talking about the Galactic Federation, and stories started to get crosshairs. So things didn't make sense. There's some very big contradictions. And then this love and light humanity savior all of a sudden is taking slaves and oh, but they're bad people. What if you're all source and what? And then are you the ones enslaving people and sending them off world? You're abducting people and selling them? There's a trade? Are you know, you can't believe anything that you hear until you do this. And I'm going to say that there's too many people out there that have been influenced by lower fourth astral entities that are just playing some fun games at our expense. And I am not buying a lot of the crap. So, and it's not to say that if I have to have the proof, and that kind of truth will only come when I enter a higher density to know exactly the whole taste of that story. But it's not here in 3D. Once again, what level of thinking are you thinking on? Is it third dimension? Is it fourth dimension? Or is it fifth dimension? What are you entangled to? And what state of frequency is that entanglement happening in? I think about all of this stuff when it comes to my life and how to stop the fucking cycle from continuing and perpetuating in my life. I'm 42. I'm tired of looping the nonsense. Oh, but you wrote it. I know I wrote it. And I'm trying to overcome it and I'm blocked. I don't know how to unblock. I don't, I'm trying to put myself in. I moved to a place that I'd never been before. I'm trying to create authenticity with people and show up and work my ass off. And I'm still like not reaping any kind of good results. So that's like, okay, so where is the block in your subconscious that your reality is on loop? Even though your conscious state is so elevated. Okay, great. That's great. That's, I think, a frustration that many of us are in. Where is the block? It's in the subconscious that you don't know about, and it's not coming to surface for you to deal with, to even heal and release. And that takes time too. And many of us, like myself, don't have time in 3D to be dealing with this stuff. Why? Because you have to nourish your soul. You have to nourish your physical vehicle. You have to pay your bills or you go without. Great. Thanks. When you don't have anybody to run and save the day for you, I mean, if it wasn't for half the people on the channel literally helping me, which I am so appreciative for, I wouldn't be here. I believe in myself and I know I'm worthy of great things. It's not about me, it's about everybody else seeing that and me emoting it and you believing it. I work almost 24 hours. If I'm not sleeping, I'm working at something. It's exhausting. Let's see what Shim Sham is in here now. I feel bad. My friend Ferris keeps wanting to talk to me, and it's rough. Every time he calls, he wants to do the Birdo, and always doing something at night when I'm home. And and then you can't get off the phone with people. That's another problem I have. All right, so an X 1.12 solar flare hit. We have an X class solar flare that came through Saturday night. So many feeling like their skin is incredibly sensitive to touch and energy, feeling ungrounded. Very tired eyes, exhaustion, irritability, and just really feeling called to rest. And this was like a few days ago, almost a week. But we're still feeling the effects of this. This feels like another big physical upgrade to your system and bringing more of your dormant DNA online. Each wave also connects us deeper with source and truth, elevates our consciousness and frequency further. The more you choose to expand with it, flow with it, and use the energy to propel you forward, the easier it will be for you to achieve anything. You're well supported. A great day for going inward in contemplation, learning something new, and curling up with a good book. Yes, Saturday was crazy. Um, I like this page. It's on Facebook. It's from Quarks to Quasars. I just recently found them. The other stuff that I used to pull off of I don't see them anymore. I don't know why. Scientists may have found a portal to the fifth dimension hidden in dark matter. What? Portal to the fifth dimension may be hidden in dark matter. In a bold theory, physicists from Spain and Germany propose that dark matter, the invisible substance that makes up about 75% of all matter in the universe, could be the result of fermions traveling through a warped fifth dimension. Their research published in the European Physical Journal C in 2021 builds on a 1999 model of warped extra dimensions, but applies it in a new way to explain the long-standing mystery of dark matter. These theoretical particles, they suggest, could pass through a dimensional portal and accumulate in a hidden region of space, forming what's called a dark sector. Dark matter has long baffled scientists. Though we can't see it directly, its gravitational effects hold galaxies together and shape the structure of the cosmos. The standard model of particle physics cannot explain it, suggesting that new physics must be at work. We're moving on up to 4D. Like I said, we're leaving 3D behind, and with that, the classical physics is not going to work in 4D fully for. It still works now because we're still bouncing back and forth. Dark matter has long baffled us scientists. I mean, the standard stuff is not going to be standard anymore. It's only going to be standard in a 3D perception. This theory not only proves a possible origin for dark matter, but also may address another deep puzzle in physics, the hierarchy problem, or why gravity is so-called weaker than the other fundamental forces. If true, it means that the universe we know might just be a shadow of a deeper, multidimensional reality. This is why I shared this. This is like phenomenal. A shadow. What if, just a postulate, what if we are in a shadow reality and that 3D and the dimension and density we are all concurrently residing in at the moment, even the overlays, right? Like you're always vibrating, so you're always jumping into different time delineations, but that's only in 3D. What if it's a shadow, just like, let's just say, the paradigm of Lucifer and Yeshua? They're the same thing. Lucifer being the shadow, Yeshua being the light, but same being. What if we're in the shadow that needs to merge into the light? Detecting this fifth dimensional dark matter would likely require next gen gravitational wave detectors now under development. So they are being developed. Look at that. The theory is still speculative, but it adds an exciting new possibility to the search for dark matter and maybe even a hidden dimension of space itself. Holy crap! Yes! Even though we're looking fundamentally at a postulate, a theory, where did those thoughts come from? Where did that, why, like, even a few years ago, the thought came to somebody's head. Well, what if in a pondering? Why then? It's good pondering material, first off. That's why I call this metaphysical pondering. What placed that thought in the ether for that physicist to pick it up? And then to really run with it and really just like explore it and discover that now, if we build this, we might be able to detect it. Again, it's metaphysics plus spirituality meeting physics. Most metaphysical spiritualists, like myself, we believe in the things that you can't see yet still exist. And no matter how you perceive that or take that in or understand and comprehend it, we know that there's a lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of things to the universe that are yet to be unknown or unraveled. We're not ever going to find that totality out, by the way. That's why what level of truth, that's what I postulate to Arnie when he talks about what we need truth. And I understand where he's coming from, and it's coming from a pure place, but I postulate what level of frequency does that exist in that you want it in? Because there's still a lot of dimensions and aspects to what you want to bring out. And if you're looking at it only on a political scale, but not any other dichotomy scale, it's just I understand truth in being a frequency. And for everybody that heart aligns is going to heart align different and interpret and feel truth differently. Many of us have already detached emotions and feelings to certain aspects of things that no longer serve us. And that includes things that we once were obsessive over. Oh, we need the truth. We need this to come out, but we already know the truth. So why do we need it out? We don't. Oh, for others to know, but others have to find it for themselves, just like we found it for ourselves, if they even want it. Like you asking a person that is colorblind what their truth is, their perception is going to be different because they see the world differently from you. Not because they're wrong, you're right. It's just how they perceive and feel it. It's different. As somebody that's colorblind to look at the chicken would be red for somebody right now, like a fuchsia color. That's what they would see this as. Does that negate the fact that I see it as green, but they see it as fuchsia? But that's what their eyes are doing. They're sold chicken. I hope everybody kind of understands where I'm coming from. It's not to disrespect or to lower anybody's perceptions. And of course, we can agree to disagree. I, in a scientific way, when you look at things, truth has to be felt. Not everybody's going to feel the truth, like love. You can love your animal. I'm going to love my animal the same, but I feel differently about that love. How I feel love is uniquely expressive and literally my own feeling. No one's going to experience that feeling besides myself in the exact way that I'm feeling it. It's just like pain. Someone like myself who has extremes in high pain thresholds, I'm uncomfortable, so I'll move my ass on this chair a million times. But that's me being uncomfortable. If I was really in pain, I'd be screaming and crying and on the floor weeping. But there are people that like get a splinter and they're on the floor welling up and weeping. Do I know that that little splinter really caused them like that kind of pain? No. But in our heads, we already judge, well, no, that's a splinter. It's a little bit of an inconvenience, but why are they reacting that way? Well, maybe for them that is extreme pain. Where the everyday pain that I've been experiencing since I was 21 years old has been intense. Like I can't walk kind of pain, like I can't bend limbs pain. But unless you've been there to even correlate with that, pain is just an idea. It's a thought. We all experience it differently. So again, truth is a frequency, just like the other things that we label. What entanglement is it that is attached to that you want to collapse? Every conspiracy theorist dream is for documents and all this beautiful stuff to be shown to the people. But those people have to feel it in order to believe it, or they need to witness it and see it and have an emotional attachment to an extent to understand it, comprehend it, and then actually be like, oh, that's their aha moment. And not everybody's ever going to get that to the capacity of where you want it. You know, the biggest deception nowadays is that how many of us fell for the AI for the clips that you see on television are all fake. So what do you know is actually real unless you really tap into your intuition and you stop watching things. I really honestly stopped watching TV, movies. I stopped watching a lot of podcasts and people that were not in alignment with me. I don't really need that information anymore. I'm remembering it from within. It might not be the same exact paradigm that I'm remembering it from, but the things that we all want to come out have to play out for others to feel, but it's not for everybody to feel it. And they're not going to feel it the same way you are. It's a head fuck. I promise it's a head fuck. A fistful of. The next fun article I have is Australian scientists built a motor that runs on pure light. No fuel, no emissions, and no moving parts. Australians' light-powered heat engine could redefine thermodynamics. Australian engineers have created a revolutionary solid-state heat engine that runs on nothing but light. No fuel, no moving parts, and no emissions. Instead of converting light into electricity like traditional solar panels, the breakthrough device uses nanoscale materials to directly transform photons into mechanical motion. The new class of engine works in a vacuum, operating silently, and doesn't rely on heat exchanges or combustion. At its heart is a layer of specially engineered materials designed to absorb photons in such a way that it creates directional motion at the atomic scale, converting the energy of light directly into kinetic force. That means the engine bypasses traditional thermodynamic pathways altogether, challenging our classical, there we go, that big word, understanding of how energy must move from hot to cold to do work. It's potentially a whole new mechanism of energy conversion, one that exploits quantum scale interactions instead of bulk thermal gradients. What makes it even more astonishing is that it's fully solid state. No pistons, no turbines, no fluids. That opens the door to micro engines capable of running indefinitely without maintenance. Ideal for powering nanobots, remote sensors, or deep space probes. It's still in its experimental phase, but the technology hints at a future where machines could operate eternally, drawing power from the ambient light of their environment, even in space. The dream of perpetual motion remains scientifically out of reach, but this is perhaps the closest we've come to it. This isn't a solar panel. It's something far more radical, motor driven by light itself. Yep. Scientists have developed a device that mimics black holes and white holes. This is called quarks and quasars. A new optical device, optical, mimics black and white holes. Black holes swallow light with gravity so strong that nothing, not even photons, can escape. Or maybe they might. White holes, their theoretical opposites, do the reverse. They push light and matter outward, never letting anything in. Now, scientists have created an optical device that mimics both behaviors, depending on how light hits it. Developed by researchers at the University of Southampton, the device uses a thin absorber placed between prisms to control how light waves interfere and interact. Depending on the polarization, the device can either trap light completely, black hole mode, or reflect it back, white hole mode. Here's how, when light beams of the same frequency enter from opposite sides, they form a standing wave, a pattern where peaks and troughs align. With one polarization, this wave is absorbed entirely, vanishing into the device without a trace. Flip the polarization and the light is reflected instead. This effect, known as coherent perfect absorption, allows scientists to precisely control how light behaves using nothing but interference and geometry. Beyond being a physical analog of cosmic phenomena, the tech could open doors to wild applications. Invisibility cloaks, those are almost already existing. Ultra efficient energy systems, or even next gen stealth materials. We got to be careful with that because we know what happens with stealth. Maybe. Another fine, amazing, beautiful article here. Physicists simulate. Simulate. So we know that a simulation is not a real thing. It's just computers doing its mathing. But it's simulate an expanding universe inside a quantum computer. In a pioneering experiment, researchers used trapped ions to simulate the effects of cosmological expansion on quantum fields. The quantum simulation provides new insights into interplay between quantum mechanics and general relativity. Why that is important. In a pioneering experiment that blurs the boundary between the theoretical physics and science fiction, a team of researchers at the University of Innsbruck has successfully simulated an expanding universe within a quantum system. Using a chain of trapped ions manipulated by lasers, they replicated the effects of cosmological expansion on quantum fields, an achievement that brings us closer to decoding the earliest moments of our cosmos. I'll get there. This quantum simulation modeled the creation of particles in an expanding space, mirroring phenomena believed to have occurred during the universe's inflationary phase shortly after a Big Bang. The ions, confined in a precise electromagnetic trap and cooled to near absolute zero, acted as quantum analogs of matter fields responding to a dynamic space-time. Why does this matter? Because this is more than a laboratory trick. It is a window into the unification of quantum mechanics and general relativity. While we still lack a full quantum theory of gravity, this breakthrough allows physicists to experimentally probe quantum gravitational phenomena that were once purely theoretical. We're moving on up to 4D side. Such experiments may soon evolve to stimulate black holes, quantum wormholes, and space-time curvature, transferring our understanding of reality from the philosophical to the testable. To simulate the cosmos in a crystal of ions is to realize that the universe may itself be a computation, a living field of resonance and code. Perhaps ancient mystics and modern quantum energies and engineers are seeking the same source through different instruments. Yes! Okay. Hi. It's a potentiality in an existing parallel universe that we have this stuff. And we're there, we're getting there, we're merging that higher heaven, the high fiving, D5ing, we're bringing it down to 3. So, of course, this interlude of what we all know as classical physics is starting to merge with higher-ended physics, and they're starting to experiment, which is great. But I also caution all these experiments, like, what if you open something that you can't close? That will, a spiritualist will say that to anybody. This is what I try to explain to people that like the Ouija board or spirit boards, or even pendulums or anything. When you open up a field, a portal, you're watching a portal happen. You can manipulate that energy with your thoughts alone. And unbeknownst to you, you're just a 3D, 2-dimensional being. You're 3 dimensions, but look at yourself multidimensionally, not just as yourself in the mirror. There's a lot of the universe that we will not know until we get to those higher states of knowing, frequency, and expanded consciousness. But will we ever be able to actually physically experience it in a 3D form? I am not 100% sure. But what I do know is that there's a lot of hypothesizing and theorizing about what CERN did in 2012 and maybe other avenues of what they have done. We need to be careful about some of these experiments, and I think physicists really need to take an understanding of you open up a black hole, I don't care how tiny it is, like do you understand what you're doing? And are you looking at it from a spiritual component, not religious, spiritual, metaphysics? I just want, and this is like the reason why I do these shows or these videos. I really highly want scientists out there. Like Federico has an idea, and I mean, I'm all for the experiments, but there are some that has landed in us changing completely into another dimensional space. We are put in a failsafe in 2012, in my estimation. Like things were played out. Let there be collision in the CERN's collider, and yes, naturally, we are merging, we having time dilation with a merger of another timeline. But what we're doing is some of it we're actually quantum leaping, but it's to a little above and over to another parallel dimensional space that's overlaying anyway with our time space. Then the last one was a little guy, but I think we stopped time to bring in and merge a higher density parallel to bring it here. Cannot, unless we experiment and do, I don't have millions of dollars to go ask a physicist and pay them to do some crazy mathematical engineering concept of an experiment. I'm not asking that because you're going to believe what you're going to believe. But a lot of us have like these inner knowings and we speak upon them. But where did that really come from? What our experiences are collectively joining together in is like we need different, we are going to do different, and now we're seeing a result. And now we're seeing the world exploding with all this new information. Classical physics is going to slowly merge into what is quantum mechanics. Quantum entanglement is starting to get a really big foothold, and string theory is probably going to be solved within the next, let's just say, 20 years. And I'm being light in saying that. It might be even less. Um, this next article is quantum physicists are now discovering that geometry is at the base of all subatomic interactions. We are only catching up to what ancient civilizations already knew. Sacred geometry is the fabric of space-time itself. And I agree with that. I don't even need to read the damn article. I already know that. If you go into meditation and just let it go and go to the white piece of paper falling, eventually when you really close out the outer world and you go within, you'll start seeing the shapes. You'll start seeing a lot. You just have to allow it to unfold for yourself. Mm. All right. I went on physics.org or psych.org. Researchers discovered a new type of quantum entanglement. The study from Technion unveils a new discovery from quantum entanglement in the total angular momentum of photons confined in nanoscale structure. This discovery could play a key role in the future miniaturization of quantum communication and computing components. So, I'll get into it. Quantum physics sometimes leads very unconventional predictions. This is what happened when Albert Einstein and his colleagues Boris Podolsky and Nathan Rosen, who later founded the Faculty of Physics at Technion, found a scenario in which knowing the state of one particle immediately affects the state of another particle. No matter how great the distance, the spooky action at a distance. Their historic 1935 paper was nicknamed EPR after its three authors. The idea that knowing the state of one particle will affect another particle located at a huge distance from it without physical interaction and information transfer seemed absurd to Einstein, which I just said, spooky action at a distance. But groundbreaking work by another Technion research professor Asher Perez from the Faculty of Physics showed that this property can be used to transmit information in a hidden way. Quantum teleportation, which is the basis for quantum communication. The discovery was made by Professor Perez with his colleagues Charles Barnett and Gilles Brassard. The phenomenon later received the scientific name quantum entanglement, and for its measurement and implications, which includes the possibility of quantum computing and quantum communication. The 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Professors Alan Aspect and Anton Zillinger, who previously received honorary doctorates from the Technion and their colleagues, Professor Clauser. Quantum entanglement has been demonstrated so far for a wide variety of particles and for their various properties. For photons, particles of light, entanglement can exist for their direction of travel, frequency, color, or the direction in which their electric field points. It can also exist for properties that are harder to imagine, such as an angular momentum. This property is divided into spin, which is related to the photon's rotation of the electric field in orbit, which is related to the photon's rotational motion in space. This is intuitively similar to Earth, which rotates on its axis and also orbits the sun in a circular path. It is easy for us to imagine these two rotational properties as separate quantities. And indeed, photons bound in a beam of light much wider than their wavelength. However, when we try to put photons into structures smaller than photonic wavelength, which is the endeavor of the quantum field of nanophotonics, we discover that it is impossible to separate the different rotational properties, and the photon is characterized by a single quantity, the total angular momentum. I'm going to end that. It goes on. But once again, the quantum computing and quantum this and quantum that. Quantum. Great. Thanks. You're not just entangled to another particle because you have multiple millions of particles that make your body up. So technically, you're entangled to a whole massive amount of things. When you give your attention to something, your entanglement to whatever that thing you're focusing on is now reflected back in you. I'm being channeled, so just don't mind me. I'm going to just talk and let it flow. So for an empath, as an example, I'm a field of energy and I'm walking in the mall and I'm feeling other people's energies. I'm entangled to the potentiality of other people and their in their field. I am picking up and that string is bouncing back to me so that I can feel their emotional states, or I could pick up information in the qualia, but I'm still entangled to that one aspect of that information that's now whizzing back at me. Does that start making sense? So another person that's over there crying, I walk into the room, but I am now feeling like I want to cry. I'm entangled to their particles of that state and wavelength of frequency that now my frequency field is picking up. And there's a direct link whizzing back and forth. You don't see this stuff happening unless you have that ability, which I don't know anybody that actually has the ability to see energy like that. If you do, please let me know. But it's an entanglement to something and then it collapses because you're no longer needed, or it becomes manifest in some way, shape, or form in the 3D. But it depends on how you perceive the entanglement. But I think that's really strings, the string wavelength. Like you're in your field, you have an electromagnetic field, and the law of attraction is nothing more than your field of frequency and the feelings and the emotions that you are inhibiting in that moment of time space. The vibration you're putting out is attracting in string form to all the potentialities that can happen to bring you whatever is that you want to attract. But you have to have the will of intention and focus to keep that frequency at that state in order to attract that entanglement that you have to another potentiality. It's all potentialities, all possibilities exist. Now, for me, with the subconscious reflecting out my outside world, so I have a phone, I have a book in front of me. This is tangible, physical shit that I have either created or brought into my purview. If I want bigger and better, I got to focus on that frequency of attracting those things in strings. Now, if that means I need to parallel lope into another dimensional space in order to grab a different frequency, in order for myself to grab that attraction point, go figure that one out. It's in the subconscious that our reality is reflected and running. Your subconscious is always running. It's what you see in your outside world is your subconscious making that happen. So if you've been programmed and you've been indoctrinated and narratives driven, you're only going to experience and feel certain aspects of reality. And you're only going to see those outcomes potentially. But if we drop all those outcomes and not have expectations, just like a lot of psychologists say, your field of energy expands and your quantum strings will be then unleashed. But if there's a block there, your strings are being inhibited from going any further than a certain amount in your field to attract things. So if you're in my scenario, if I want to attract a teaching job, I still the navigation around that is I still need money. So how do I get that money? Well, now I have to go to the bank on Monday and plead to get a loan. Then to apply for school or a licensure. to getting that, and then put it out in the field once I have the test done and a licensure. So there's many steps. It's just how to navigate around that and how to like attract things to self. I don't understand just the obsession and need. Like when I'm channeling and then I get distracted because I have like my phone's blowing up. It's no emergency. So there is a lot of things that I want people to consider. What I'm trying to explain that it's so hard to like convey in words that most people can understand. And it's not because anybody's stupid, it's just like my brain doesn't think on normal normal terms. There's a lot of quantum mechanics happening within the spiritual psychology in what you want and what you want to bring in and the frequency and the vibration that you need to be at. But we don't know where those frequencies are that we need to be at. We need to feel the states of enjoyment, of excitement, of wanting, of feeling love for things and being in our highest excitement. That's great. But as a human, it's hard to hold those states for a long period of time to actually entangle yourself to the particle that strings that you need to pull in to collapse the wave function for it to manifest in 3D. And that actually takes a lot of time in space. So we have to figure out how to do that quicker. And as we get less dense and move on up, these things will be a little quicker. But soul contracts also. I just find this stuff so fascinating because when you can actually put some scientific, like you could read these postulates in articles, we are seeing in real time space in the moment of now that there are people working on experimentations to prove what a spiritual person has been saying for eons. But the conventional mind, the structural, static, classical mind in 3D can't comprehend because they're not expanding yet. It's mind-blowing. Those of us who can start using more scientific understanding, when people ask you prove it, well, in time, we're going to be able to prove a lot of spiritual stuff by mathematics and physics alone. It's just the verbiage that we're using and the way we're trying to explain it isn't so scientific because most people don't understand science or how we don't see how an atom in a subatomic particle actually functions because we're composed of it, but we don't see the nitty-gritty of it unless you're a scientist in a lab watching a computer screen and hoping that it's depicting the truth of what you're seeing on the computer. So let's just get real. But I'm hoping that a lot of the things that I said made sense. I'm really hopeful that many people start understanding that we're gapping less and less. We're coming into a state of where we're going to be able to have experiments in the near future that prove a lot of things that people are like, that's woo woo. It's not woo-woo anymore if there's a physicist willing to experiment on it and it actually comes out that the spiritual person was right. The movies were right. The Matrix is a documentary, and many of us know that. We feel it, we understand it, absorb that information. But now it's coming to, well, if other people, and I guess that's a truth. But still, you could present, science in itself has been a mystified space because not all physicists and not all scientists, no matter what their study of science is, some people's voices never get heard, and they have discovered things eons ago that were silenced. Credit is never going to get due to the people that really had channeled this information and was trying to help save humanity a long time ago. And it's not that we need saving, it's just that now we're at the point where we can either implode again, explode, or be saved. And I think the choices that we're all making is that we want to be saved. Who's going to save you? Yourself. I'm at that crux right now. I got to save myself because otherwise I'm done. And I'm at the 0 point tomorrow. And no miracles have come in, all the tarot cards and all the beautiful, tarot card readings, oracle readings I've been watching. Oh, Aries, everything is going to happen. You have to be patient. Oh, spirit is working for you. Source is working. I have faith, but faith doesn't pay your bills. So there's my rational, logical mind, and it's not being negative. But like, how long does one wait for a change to happen when you're actually expelling your energy to get that change? But if something is blocking you and you're unconscious, how do you actually get out of that pattern of the wave function? How do you collapse heaven to earth when it's not just one person, you need a multitude of people to do it? I can do so much, and at the same time, I don't need to do anything at all. What is meant for you is going to come, and I agree with that. But once again, you live in a 3D universe. We signed up for these roles, themes, and things to play out. Food still needs to be provided for your table. Shelter of any form needs to be provided. I don't think I signed up for the homeless paradigm anytime soon, but if I do, I'm done. I'm not going to live that experience. I negate that. I null and void that contract. A lot of us have come way too far to have fallen continuously and not be picked up by the universe that much. That's where I'm at. And it's not for the lack of effort, you know. And even when you change your mindset, it doesn't happen overnight. All the stories you hear from Neville Goddard and other things, other people had to walk into those people's lives in order for them to like make it through, in order for those breakthroughs to happen. What happens when you have nobody? You fade away. We'll see what happens. Welcome to my journey. I'm going to end it here, guys. I hope you guys got something out of what I've read tonight. Really mind expanding stuff is happening and it makes me excited. I can't wait for more information to come out. I know I haven't done one of these in a long time. I'm just not seeing the articles anymore pop up, and then when something does tickle my fancy, it the articles are not there anymore. Like it's either behind a paywall or it's a scam. So I hope what I put forward tonight gets you thinking, gets you looking a little deeper, and just know that we're in the middle of a transformation in humanity. And scientifically, eventually it's going to be proven. And I'm really excited for it. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within, be the shoulders, be the lighthouse, seed your truths, light the path forward, And I hope to see you all in the next one. I hope to see you all tomorrow for Friday Night Live raffle. And I'm hopefully my lobotomy gets fixed. And until the next one, guys, have a blessed and beautiful night. Bye for now.